eventually it got more serious. Server started to, see, there was this guy. He was called the Cyberchrist. And he wasn't like the son of God or anything. He was just this guy who did stuff on the internet, And he did some hacking and some well-known type. And he was arrested. And when he was arrested, none of the files or the data that they kept on him would stay in the system because it was being removed. Any data, any processing information, anything was just vanishing. And he was always saying that server is protecting me. Server protects me. Eventually he was killed. They said it was suicide, but, he was beaten and hung in a cell. I guess they became frustrated with him. But the Cyberchrist, he was the one who started talking, and every time he was in front of the cameras, he was going off about, think of everything that server has given you. Which, when you think about it, makes sense, what has server given me? I've got access to music. It's given me education, information, art, literature, entertainment. It'd be safe to say that server's given me more than anything I've ever wanted. I wouldn't even be a librarian if it wasn't for server. Listen to me, sound like a pretty strong convert. I believe in server. That's why I say server will protect us, and server does protect us, I think. People in my trade, the information business. It's still a great way to really mess with the cops. Corp cops or otherwise. If you get arrested and you have data, you say, server gave it to me. Where did you get this data? Server gave it to me. Well, it's religion, right? God gave me this. Server gave me this. That way they can't track it. You just say, server gave it to me, and they instantly label you as a religious zealot, and there's not much you can do. They'll stop chasing you for names because you think a God gave it to you. So rather than interrogate you, they label you as nuts. Either way, you're getting an injection, but at least you got some say in the matter, I suppose. Some say that some of the hacks that were happening and information that was getting posted, no one was taking credit for it. A lot of people were getting scared, like nobody was taking credit. There's a huge release about the ozone layer being destroyed. That was server. Whoever released that would have been instantly heralded in this status, But rather than say it was someone, I guess whoever did it, or maybe server did do it. I don't know, but they just attributed it to server. In essence, even if it was a person, I suppose it makes sense, because server is in everything and everyone. Every person is server. Some more than others. Somewhere along the way, as the people who were practicing computer skills became more and more persecuted, they were forced further and further underground. Literally, actually. The server monks, the first server monks, were just, I suppose, hackers who took it that final step. They started living in abandoned water reservoirs and sewers under the cities. Even in the neighborhoods that were trashed, there's usually a large water reservoir or some kind of a concrete enclosure under the surface away from the sun. So they started hooking up solar panels in discrete locations and running power or stealing power or whatever, and all they did was commune. See, most of us, we just use tablets, but the virtual reality craze was pretty big for a while there. I mean, it got really heavy, but then, after, just like everything else, new flavor of the month came out, everybody thought it was cool, and it kind of faded away. But not for the monks, you see. To surf in true immersive, 100% immersive virtual reality, what happened was the technology has gotten to the level. Now, unfortunately, I don't know that much about this kind of wet wiring, okay, but you had to have a special jack installed into your head, and it can be put just about anywhere. It has to be put in the, if you draw a line from your eyes back to the back of your head, it has to be from about there up. So you can put it anywhere on the top of your head. A lot of folks put it in like the crown of the head so that their hair would cover it. Of course, this is back when everyone had hair. But a lot of the server monks, they didn't do that. They put it right between their eyes, just above on their forehead, where they claimed the third eye was located. And their whole concept was that the third eye mythically allowed you to see into other worlds and dimensions and things like that. So that's all it was. This virtual reality is not a new thing. It's a gateway to an old thing. It's like this world has always existed, and now we're just able to explore it. I mean, they get really into this concept. So, but monks generally put it. But that's the easiest way to tell a monk when you see one is that they've got, a jack in the middle of their forehead. But you can tell one long before that. As the technology improved, there was companies that specialized in immersive VR technology, and then eventually it became like there's user interfaces. Everything could be done through virtual reality, and when you're jacked in, you're not even aware of what's going on around you. You're oblivious, and therefore you're helpless. So with the monks living in these underground reservoirs or whatever, they set up these what they call temples, where the monks would go and they'd all lock everything down in this underground reservoir and then just commune for hours, sometimes days. They spend as much time communing as they can, jacked in, as it were. You'll never see soldiers protecting monks. Monks hate anything made of flesh. They don't hate it, but part of their prayer is that flesh is weak. I mean, they don't even leave the temple. The senior members don't. What happens is that these temples, they set them up under the grounds, and some temples have been there for years now, decades, generations even. And their locations are kept secret. I know where a few are. When you get access to them, you go down and you have to know where the entrance is, and then you kneel, and you must recite the server prayer. The server's prayer is, I know it. They say that this is their mantra. This is their whole. This is probably their most devoted thing. Every time before they commune, they say this. Every time they do anything, they say this. This is like their identification, Server's prayer. Also called server's mantra, or the mantra, or their creed. I know it.